Inducing labor. We're going to talk about timing and method. So the first thing I must impress upon you is the timing. As much as you would like at the end of your pregnancy, maybe you are 39 weeks or 40 weeks exactly, and you feel like it's your due date and you just want to get this over with and you're just ready to go and induce yourself. It's not a good idea. Trust me, I've done it. I have induced 5 of my own labors out of 8. And I have therefore learned the tricks of the trade and what to do and what not to do. And one thing you should not do is induce yourself before your body is ready. Why? Well, sometimes your body needs full for 40 weeks. Sometimes your body needs 42 weeks. Sometimes you only need 38 weeks. But whatever the case may be, if you try and push this labor earlier than it's ready to come, you might end up in a bad situation where you are in the hospital, they're trying to get you to progress and you're not progressing and you have short contractions and they're trying to induce you with Pitocin, and then it just ends up in a bad situation. I did this with my 6th labor. I felt like it's my due date and I am just tired. Why should I wait 42 weeks like I've done with many of my other kids? Let's just go have this baby now. And I did one of those methods, which I'll tell you in a minute, to produce labor contractions, but they weren't strong enough. So whereas some of my other labors went much faster, this one went on forever. And then they gave me Pitocin, and then the highest level of Pitocin, and it still weren't progressing. And then they broke my water, and then that wasn't helping. And then my baby went into fetal distress, and they were ready to send me for a C-section, which thank God didn't end up happening, and everything ended up working out well, and I had a baby boy. But the moral of the story is you don't want to induce labor before your body is ready. And how do you know that your body is ready? Well, generally it's a good idea to ask your doctor, your midwife, and they'll tell you when, it looks like it's time. And if you're not going naturally into labor, then you can use any one of these 3 methods that we will discuss now to get yourself started. Now, when I was 42 weeks with my second, I realized that I wasn't having this baby naturally and I better do something before they do something to me. So I did some research and I discovered 3 different ways that you can put yourself into labor. The first is drinking the milk of a mother who has just given birth in the last 3 days. Because when you give birth, when your baby nurses, what ends up happening is the nursing lets out Pitocin in their body, and then that creates contractions to contract the womb back down to like a regular size. So considering that the baby, mother doesn't really have her milk in the first 48 hours, let's say the 3rd day or the 4th day after she's had a baby and she has milk in, if you would drink some of her milk, that would give you some of that Pitocin in your blood and hopefully put you into labor. Have I tried this one? No, I had no idea how to find such milk and I never tried it. The second method is to rub your nipples. To rub your nipples, you are trying to simulate a baby nursing. The same idea. When your baby nurses the first couple of days after birth, it creates contractions so that don't worry, they're not as strong as really bad labor contractions, but it creates contractions so that your womb will go back down to the regular size. And therefore, when you rub on your nipples, now this is not something that I've either tried, because I did heard from different people that it could create, first of all, you have to do it for a very long time, and it could create very strong labor contractions. And so therefore I didn't opt for that option. I did the 3rd one, which I did 5 out of 8 of my births, and that is taking castor oil. Now, castor oil you can find in any pharmacy, and it is not very palatable. I promise, it's really not. Like, you're not gonna get addicted and say, I wanna have some every day. I promise, really. You probably want to put it in some kind of drink to mask the taste, like strong orange juice, or I put it in grape juice. It still doesn't taste very good. You want to take about 2 ounces. Now, I'm serious about this dose, because if you take too little, you might end up with contractions that don't really get you very far. And if you take too much, you might end up with contractions that are crazy, like I did in my 5th labor. So that's not a good idea. Don't take too much. I think that I was in an alternative birthing center and I didn't have contractions yet and my water broke. And the midwife brought me a whole tray of like little shot glasses of castor oil, and I drank ridiculous amounts, and that was very traumatic. So don't do that to yourself. So about 2.5 ounces of castor oil, try to mask it in something. It is a laxative, so you will end up needing, it does what laxatives do. So just a warning, and doctors don't really like it for that reason because they think it gets a little messy. Midwives highly suggest it because they feel it's very natural, and in general it does take about 4 hours, sometimes a little less, and you will start getting nice, strong labor contractions. So if you are at the end and you are ready to just go in already and you're wondering what is taking so long and your doctor is saying it's really time to go in to get induced, this might be a very, very good option. I will end with a personal story, which is a little bit funny. With my 8th labor, I was 1 full week overdue, and I went in for my regular doctor's appointment. And my doctor said, oh, you are ready, and I'd like to see you in for induction tomorrow morning, first thing. I'm going to book it. And I said, oh, okay. I'll just go home and take some castor oil now. And he said, well, it doesn't always work, so therefore, maybe I'm going to book you in anyway. And I said, no, it'll work. Trust me, I've done it before. And I said, oh, today's Tuesday. Oh, I know which doctor's on call. She's delivered my last 2 kids. Great, I'm so excited. And he looks at me like, it's already 11:30 in the morning and she goes off duty at 5. I highly doubt you're going to have her to deliver you. So I said, okay, we'll see. And I went home. I drove 20 minutes home. I went to the pharmacy, got myself some castor oil, went home, drank the castor oil. I waited about 2.5 hours till I started getting contractions, and then we made our way to the hospital. The hospital was, we ended up getting stuck in traffic and rush hour, and so most of my labor was in the car, and I called the hospital to make sure the doctor was waiting for me, and I had that baby at 4:25 before the doctor went off duty. And I felt like, I want to call my doctor and say, see, I didn't end up getting to tell him till my 6-week appointment. But castor oil does work. It especially works if you are overdue and your doctor is telling you that it's really time to go in. And make sure to get the dosing right, and good luck to you and congratulations.